U.S. to lift Eritrea's sanctions as Red Sea tensions reshape alliances, document says. The United States is set to remove sanctions against Eritrea, according to an internal U.S. government document seen by Reuters, a decision analyst linked to the African state's strategic location on the Red Sea shipping route. The U.S. move is aimed at improving ties with Eritrea, which has a long Red Sea coastline, while also sending a message to neighboring Ethiopia not to go to war with its longtime Horn of Africa foe, analysts said. The war in Iran and closure of the Strait of Hormuz have brought into focus the importance of controlling the Red Sea, a key conduit for trade between the Mediterranean and Asia. However, the Horn of Africa region is destabilized by war in Sudan, tension in Somalia, and fears of conflict between Ethiopia and Eritrea. U.S.-based advocacy group Freedom House ranks isolationist Eritrea as one of the most repressive countries in the world, on a par with North Korea, describing it as a militarized authoritarian state and noting it has not held a national election since independence from Ethiopia in 1993. The U.S. administration under President Joe Biden imposed sanctions in 2021 against Eritrea's ruling party and military, as well as senior Eritrean officials for their role in a war in neighboring Ethiopia, where Eritrean forces backed Ethiopian troops fighting regional authorities in the northern Tigray region. The internal government document, a note sent by the U.S. State Department to several countries, said the U.S. would rescind on or around May 4th an executive order signed by Biden imposing the sanctions. Ties have been on ice for decades, even before the sanctions were imposed. It was not clear when the lifting of the sanctions would be announced. Neither the U.S. State Department nor the Treasury immediately responded to requests for comment. Eritrea's Minister of Information, Yemane Gebremeskel, and the Ethiopian Prime Minister's press secretary, Bilene Siem, did not respond to requests for comment. War killed hundreds of thousands of people. UN experts and human rights advocates have accused Eritrea of myriad human rights abuses under President Isaias Afwerki's 30-year-old rule, including indefinite conscription of men and unmarried women into military or government service since its border war with Ethiopia. Officials in Asmara routinely deny such accusations. Ethiopia's 2020-2022 war killed hundreds of thousands and displaced millions. Eritrean troops were accused by the UN of several violations, including summary executions and the abduction and disappearance of Eritrean refugees there. Eritrea denied for months that its troops had deployed in the Tigray region to support Ethiopia's forces, but later acknowledged their presence while denying they were responsible for abuses. Oil disruptions bring Red Sea into focus. The 2021 sanctions were sweeping, targeting Eritrea's military, its ruling political party, the People's Front for Democracy and Justice, PFDJ, and the head of the Eritrean National Security Office, among others. However, the U.S.-Iran war has severely disrupted oil supplies from and shipping through the region and positions Eritrea as a significant player to deal with. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz means the Red Sea will be an even more contested area, and this could be a signal that the U.S. will take a bigger interest in the region, said Murithi Mutiga, Program Director for Africa for the International Crisis Group think tank. Eritrea and Ethiopia have a bitter shared history, having fought long wars before making peace in 2018. Since the end of the war in Tigray, the countries have fallen out again, with Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed publicly declaring that his nation has a right to sea access. The comments have been widely interpreted by Eritrea as a threat of military action. Regional diplomats say the U.S. move would also send a message to landlocked Ethiopia that Washington does not support any forceful quest for sea access. We have repeatedly communicated to Ethiopia that we oppose any attempt to acquire sea access by force, the U.S. government note says, adding that both nations have been warned about the destabilizing roles they played in each other's country.